Okay.
Yes.
There it is. Maybe it is. So we're doing standard 6 on assessment.
Yes. So, our guiding question, how does the candidate use assessment methods to engage students in their own growth, monitor student progress, and guide the candidate's planning? Okay, so overall, you do a weekly, and this is only on this one assessment you show today, right? So, like, you probably do other assessments too.
Yeah.
But this one is a weekly assessment, which is, I feel like, a lot. I mean, not in a bad way, but in a good way. Like, you do a good job of keeping up on assessments to make sure you know where the kids are with their sounds and letter recognition. And then you kind of pinpoint that, what they don't know, and keep going over that in their centers and all over in their small group time, right? So, effectively uses or balances the use of formative and summative assessment to appropriate to support, verify, and document learning. I gave you a 4, although it doesn't show it, I don't think, in the one video. No. This is really a long-term look if you're looking for a candidate effectively balancing it, but I know that you do, so I gave you a 4 because I know what goes on in your room. So even though I think that they may not be able to see that just on the video, that's where that's coming from. The alignment of assessment with objectives. Candidate designs assessments that align with learning objectives. I think totally proficient on that. Do you create your own ESGI assessments, or are they already on there?
I use the ones that are already on there. I've been playing around with the ones though that you can create since it's a new program to me. I didn't know that I could personally do it until like just a few weeks ago. I was talking to Mrs. Tucker about how I wanted to target a specific child in the class for like the same letters, like repetition over and over again. And she was like, "Oh, here, let me show you." And she showed me how to do that. So now I know how to do that, so I've been doing that more. But I definitely need to do a little bit more targeting kids, like where they're at as far as where they assess, because I do a little bit of that with what I have, but I definitely am not like creating the assessments like, for the kids.
Which I don't think is necessarily, you know, a needed thing. I was just wondering. So, I feel like the assessments that you're using on ESGI definitely are what we want the kids to be knowing, you know, so I think you do a great job of aligning it with, you know, what your kids' objectives are. And then the feedback part wasn't necessarily on the assessment that you gave, because it was an assessment to see, so you didn't necessarily give them feedback there, but what we were talking about, which was why I gave you the 4 for it, was you use that information to go back in their group, and then also in their group, that's where you're giving that immediate feedback of when they're working on a letter or whatever, they make a mistake, like, oh, this is, you know, changing it, and that kind of stuff right there on the spot. So, which is, I think, what 5-year-olds kind of need. Like, they're not going to remember it in a whole group lesson later. Or something like that. That. So,
and we talked about, too, like, we wanted to keep that, like, time where we're playing the games, like, positive so that they want to come over and do. Otherwise, if it's, like, negative, then they won't want to come over.
I don't want to go to the computer and say my letters and sounds. So,
and hear how wrong I am.
Nobody wants to do that.
No.
So, and then there's 2 more categories: effective use of assessments. So, you use a lot of different assessment types in your classroom. This just happens to be the one that you got filmed. But you also use that to, you know, guide yourself in, like, making groups. Like you were saying that you put some low, medium, and high kids in a group that are going to work together so that some of the higher kids could help the lower kids or kind of collaborate in that way. So I feel like that's a really good way to use the assessment, so you know where they are and can then create groups, you know, of kiddos to help each other and work together. And it's also good for the high kids to deal with the lower kids. And then, you know, especially like the EL kids that are in those groups, they get a lot of language from the non-ELs
and they are really motivated to interact with the children that are higher, because then they, like, usually it's something that's fun, like really engaging, learning game. And so then they build, like, their vocabulary. I've seen huge gains just, you know, with play.
You know, well, that's kind of that age. They don't even, before coming into this, usually they don't know how to play together.
No. No, yeah.
without just taking something or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I suspect by the end of the year, it's going to be like, whoa.
Yeah, I think so. They're doing a really great job. The thing that we're working on right now, because like I think they've got the routines and procedures down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like taking care of each other. Like they're all excited to help me out.
Yes.
And I'm like, thank you. I really love that you guys respect me and that you want to help. Like I really appreciate that. But look, so and so fell. Can we go? Yeah, can we go over and help them?
Developmentally is not necessarily their age level yet.
Yeah, so we've just been working on that a lot.
When you point it out and everything, then maybe it'll
get a little bit better.
Yeah. And then accommodations and assessments. What were we talking about for that?
The English language learner children. We were talking about how we do the high, medium, low, but then also when I'm doing those like one-on-one type of assessments at the computer, I know that it's not necessarily a waste of time because they would learn like the procedure and everything, but I think it's a better use of my time for them to work on talking with me and looking at letters and just learning what they are, like because they're just at a different stage than the other kids. And then also from what we know, like I want them to learn Spanish since that's their, you know what I mean, like because I know that's like if you learn how to read in your primary language, then you can learn in a second language. So we'll like focus more on following directions and like those types of things that are so challenging for somebody who doesn't know a lot of English. And then I've been building on that. Where of course I am like showing them, different like letters and stuff, but I've just been openly communicating with those families to teach their kids in Spanish to read, because I think
one of the other things we were talking about was when you're like in the two examples today that with Elizabeth. And like that you were, that even though they were taking the same test, as the test giver, kind of like what they need to perform to their highest level is like Elizabeth can't have a lot of fluffy
if you're too like excited, she'll get very excited and then she can't engage. And even though she's like laying on the table at one point, like that's just her style. Like you just like let her be and she'll be fine. Whereas some other kids, like if they were laying on the table, you'd think, oh no, they're all done. But she just needs to move around like that. And then Bryson, the second child, he needs somebody to be like, whoa, way to go, be like really positive and like
to keep him going.
Because otherwise he doesn't. I think that's kind of how his communication style is in general. When you see him in the classroom, that's how he is. So I think that he really just feeds off of that high energy. So you need to have that.
And I don't think that changing, like, it's basically just changing your voice and your interaction with them. I don't think that is going to affect the outcome of their test, like, changing it to where it's going to be, unequal for them. No, I think it's more like you're just giving each of them what they need to succeed and do their own personal best. So, so I thought that it went really well, and especially, like, it's hard to give an assessment type thing to a bunch of 5-year-olds and guy, and like score you on these standards. They're hard, but I thought it went pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So, thanks.
Yeah.